Man, I hope you have a good therapist. I've called my therapist. I'm pretty sure you've called your therapist.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
in the
don't even
Marvel
know what's
community-
real anymore.
Everyone
I
in the
don't
Marvel community is collectively in mourning right now. Moon Knight episode 5. Let's get
Wow.
into it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't even know what's real anymore. Like, are we in Stephen, Mark, whoever's head?
Yeah.
Like reliving childhood trauma.
Well-
Are we in the Egyptian land of the dead, or are both true?
The whole show.
Yeah.
Because based on some of the stuff that people have pieced together and lined up, the first episode and a half are pretty much everything that happened in episode 5. The little girl shows up and she talks
Yeah.
about being rejected from the field of reeds. She talks about the
little girl from the first episode who he hides the thing.
So he
hides-
shows up and she's putting something
she
in.
puts the
She's
trash-
putting stuff in,
she-
in the pyramid.
oh my
and she's like,
God.
there's nothing in there. And
I
he's like,
didn't
well,
see-
we don't know nothing's in there.
Yeah, see,
and then,
I'm
and
trying
then they
to-
walk over to
oh, wow.
then they walk over to the sarcophagus and he's like, oh, well, there's some really nasty stuff in here.
Right.
Which leads to him putting his hand in it. And then she's like, well, what did it feel like being rejected from the field of reeds? And he's like, well, I'm not dead.
Right. Wow. Oh man. Yeah, see, I haven't looked any of that stuff up because I'm really trying to stay off of the spoilers and figure it out
Yeah.
for myself. But yeah, this is Inception level.
And then the
this is
little stuffed animals that he's sorting in the stockroom
Right.
are little towelettes. They're the little hippos. And
Wow,
and like he talks
yeah.
about the poster with all the go watch episode 1 again.
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. That's insane.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, so yeah, it's all that's right. Well, because I last episode we were talking, I caught that it was all the same people in the psych ward with
right.
him that we had seen earlier,
Right.
but it goes so much deeper. The
much
rabbit
deeper.
hole goes so much deeper.
much
Oh,
deeper.
I'm gonna have to go watch episode 1 again.
So now the question is this whole show happening inside Stephen Mark's?
Yes, I think. See, I've come to the conclusion. The answer is yes and yes.
Yeah.
Is what they're doing. They're doing a very clever, disguised as a comic book hero movie. They're doing a story about a man trapped in his mental illness,
Right,
And
yes.
and in these other and dealing with his mental illness. And I think it's a especially post we like to stay in the realm of the geek here, but we can't deny that like COVID has changed everything and everybody, and is really I don't know any person that's the same now than they were before.
Right.
That where we almost all have these two different lives that we lived. We
Right,
have this
right,
pre-COVID life and
right.
post-COVID, and this show is really dealing with that and mental illness in such a cool and creative
Yeah,
way.
it's such-
So I
such
think
an
it's
amazing
both.
way, yeah.
I think ultimately the premise, the conceit, is that it is really happening, but it's also happening in his head.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. I mean, episode 6, I think we talked a couple episodes ago that we kind of could, we could kind of see the track of this show. Nope.
Nope,
No,
completely
we had no
opposite.
idea.
Completely.
This is,
They threw all those ideas over the side of the boat with Steven.
Yeah.
They're all in the Forever.
Yeah, the Forever Sands,
Whatever
yes.
whatever the name of that, the duat. Yeah. Wow. Show's doing a lot of great things, I think, for the DID community and,
Yeah.
and the mental illness community.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of representation in this that like we've had representation before of people with disassociated
Right,
identities.
or
But
they're crazy,
yeah.
or it's gimmicky.
Yeah.
But this
I
is
really feel like this
yeah.
is really like they've
It's
given us
taking
a
it
person
seriously,
that's
yeah.
really showing what it could possibly be like for those of us
Yeah.
who don't have it.
I mean, and Oscar Isaac should. I mean, Oscar Isaac should win an Oscar. Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
should be no
Yeah.
rules to who can win an Oscar, because basically Moon Knight is a giant
movies.
feature film.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic feature
Yeah.
film. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
some of
no,
these are playing out. I mean, and like WandaVision, there's such a mind warp
Yeah.
on these Marvel movies. Like, I'm really excited for this next phase. They're totally going way deep into some comic book stuff and some really, I mean, everybody likes to, including my brother, likes to bag on the Marvel movies have a formula.
They
and I
do.
feel like, well, and
Everything has a formula.
but the first phase, the first couple phases, that first leading up to Infinity War,
Yeah.
I think that's true. But I think Kevin Feige,
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
Kevin Feige, I think that him and Marvel have heard that.
Yeah.
They've heard it and they've addressed it, because this next,
And
what
they're
they're
giving us
doing with these
something
next,
so different.
yeah, what they're doing with these next Marvel movies and the Marvel going forward is really going into some like really cool, deep, like
Heavy
next
stuff.
heavy stuff, and You know, I mean, yes, we got 3 Spider-Mans, but I also think we got maybe one of the best Uncle Ben dying stories out of the last Spider-Man movie, but it was Aunt May.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, there's a lot, yes, there's a lot of formula because they're comic book movies. That's really what they are. But for all the filmmakers that are jealous of the box office tickets, it's not just comic book stuff. I mean, look at Morbius, or look at some of the other things that just throws a superhero suit and go. It doesn't do what these Marvel movies are doing.
There has to be thought and heart behind it.
These things are selling tickets because they're good.
Yeah.
Like they're people want to go see this and have a theater experience and do all the things you have to do to go out these days. To go experience these because they are good movies.
Yeah.
Yes, they're comic book movies. They're action movies. But they're good movies. And like Moon Knight keeps me awake at night.
Yeah.
Like I sit there and I'm like, oh my God, like what's going, do I even know like what I'm perceiving? Is this the real, am I really here talking to you? Or am I curled up in a corner like in my cabin in the woods in Wyoming talking to myself?
As I was saying the other day,
I'm not even here. Don't break me. I'm close.
So you mentioned, kind of going back to Moon Knight a little bit, you mentioned our Uncle Ben moment, our kind of Spider-Man backstory that we didn't get with Spider-Man. Well, this last episode gave us the most remarkable, no pun intended, backstory to what we got with Mark's break, what eventually led to the alters. And although although Mark would be, you know, the primary fronting of the system, and you have Steven ultimately for our story of the show of Moon Knight is the main character.
Yeah, Steven, he's the first character we meet.
Yeah,
he's really we spend the first episode experiencing the mental illness from Steven's point of view, which makes me think that it's again they're going to pull a twist on us, that it's not. That Steven is just as real, if not more real than Mark. Like Mark is the break.
Well,
and the mystery person in the box. We still have. We expected this last episode, Thor and I think we talked about it in the last episode of Applesauce Baloney. We thought that we'd get an answer to who was in the sarcophagus. What's the third personality?
So I don't think we got an actual, like, they didn't slap us in the face with the answer. Mm-hmm. But I think we got an answer in the last episode.
What do you think the answer
Because when you go back and you watch the last episode, Oscar Isaac does a really great job, and the art department and costuming department is doing a really great job of separating who these alters are. We have Mark. Sorry, I've added another one. Mark, who's very controlled, and like his hair is slicked back, and he has American accent, and he's very like, you know, he knows
secret agent.
He
guy.
knows what's happening. He's James Bond.
Yeah.
We have Steven, who's kind of a little disheveled, a little goofy, you know, British. You know, his pants are too short. You know, it's his hair is kind of disheveled a little bit. But if you go back and watch, and a little bit throughout the series, and I think it's the same persona that we get when he arrives in Egypt. I think that's our third persona.
The one drinking.
The one drinking.
Because Mark doesn't really drink.
They don't show Mark drinking, and his hair is all in his face. So I think our third persona is the one with the busted nose.
We have seen
the one with the busted nose.
Mike. We have seen Mike.
We've seen Mike. Yeah, or Jake if it follows the comic books.
Jake.
Jake Lockley. He's a really like heavily violent New York cabbie. He's like he's the person that massacred every time we see massacre in these, it's not Mark as Moon Knight. It's probably this Jake person.
We'll just say Jake.
So, but if you go back and watch again and really pay attention, I mean, it's very minute because it's really, really close between what you get with this Jake and what you get with Mark. But if you go back and listen, there's just almost an unnoticeable shift in his perception of body language. There's a little bit more guttural voice.
And I was thrown by
down in his face.
I was thrown by the cut on the nose. That's if there's a slap in the face, no pun intended. It's the cut on the nose in this last episode when he's with Dr. Harrow.
So I think we've experienced a lot more of Jake through this series than we think we have.
So I'm gonna have to go back and I guess rewatch.
We have to go back and watch the whole
before we
thing.
get to episode 6.
Yeah.
So
I did my rewatch yesterday.
Okay.
They did a good job with this show.
Oh man, we're just excited for Marvel. It's coming around the mountain.
God, it is.
Oh man, so
Moon Knight middle of this week.
We're gonna have a busy week. Hopefully we'll get two
Doctor
episodes.
Strange
Two
at the end of
episodes
this
out.
week.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is the first time I think that they've overlapped a show with a movie. I mean, this is real close. The last episode of Moon Knight, and I know Loki came out
yeah,
pretty close.
yeah.
But I feel like this is we're
Yeah.
getting it in the same week.
I know
We're getting
I know we've had closeness in the shows before, but yeah, I don't think it's been.
Marvel TV show. Usually they make us wait for a movie, but anyway, lots to talk about. We'll have last episode of Moon Knight, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Let
us.
And
So
before we know it, Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So drop down in the comments. Drop what you think is going to happen in Wednesday's finale.
Yeah.
Are we going to get Jake? Is Jake going to save Mark and Steven and they're going to form this trifecta of awesome Moon Knight? Is Layla going to have to handle the whole situation by herself?
Yeah, I see. I think I'm calling it. I think Layla ends up as Moon Knight at the end.
So people are saying that she's actually going to go on and be a different character.
Oh.
So again, not to veer off in another direction. We're not done yet. Hold on for a couple more seconds. So there's a character in Marvel that's the Scarlet Scarab.
Mm-hmm.
So which is I forget his first name, but Al Fawd. Her father in the comic books.
Oh, because he has
is a Scarlet Scarab,
and he has that Scarlet
and he
Scarab.
has a Scarlet Scarab
scarf. Scarlet Scarab. Say that 5 times fast. Scarlet
Layla
Scarab
has
scarf.
a Scarlet Scarab tattoo.
Oh yeah, then for sure.
So if she doesn't become Moon Knight for a brief moment in this last episode, she's definitely going to go on. We're definitely going to get more of her.
Cool.
I think
I like her. I like her character.
I think in the promo
And the actress. Very much.
I think in the promo for the finale, I believe they said season finale instead of series finale.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, they've changed their minds before. I want more Moon Knight. Give us more Moon Knight.
Yeah.
This was amazing.
It was a lot of fun.
It was amazing, amazing. I want to see how Moon Knight goes and connects to the rest of the characters, connects to Blade, and because obviously the Marvel has the Midnight Suns group.
Yep. Well, and they brought up the other ancestral lands too. They brought up the so it's from Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I think Shang-Chi exists in one of these ancestral lands. So Marvel's going some really cool places. A lot of cool storytelling ahead. See you next week for Moon Knight and Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Subscribe. Tell your friends. See you next time.